Yo, what is going on, guys? Episode 71 of many. So, I haven't had a chance yet to recap Vegas and Denver, and so that's what we're going to do today. So, it's not going to be a super long episode, probably 15, 20 minutes is my guess, but you might laugh at the end of this. Maybe we're at 30 minutes, I have no idea. So, for those of you listening, the last couple episodes, you would know that I went out to Las Vegas. We flew into Las Vegas, and then we drove out to Boulder City. I was staying out in Henderson. G, the producer, my brother, and myself, we flew out there. When I do these events, I like to bring somebody with me just so I have, when I go on these events to learn stuff and take away stuff from mentors, I try to bring somebody with me so that way when I come back and I have all these ideas or thoughts, there's at least somebody with me that understands what I'm talking about. Usually when the owner goes away and they learn all of these new things and they come back and tell the team all these things we're going to change, it's very overwhelming. The team gets upset and they have no idea what you're talking about. So I do not like to do that, although I do have a lot of ideas from this last one. G and I are working through some of the things that we've learned. So anyways, we flew out to Vegas and we stayed at this place called Pirates Cove, or that's where the event was happening. I actually stayed off at a remote house in Henderson. And before I talk about the speakers, I kind of want to talk about some of the things that I did. So when we go to these events, there's like 40-ish gym owners or, 30, but then there's like spouses or there's, whatever, right? So there's like 40-ish people plus the speakers and the host. So, and this is a group that I pay to be in. So when we go out there, the event is Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday morning. You can eat breakfast and kind of hit the road. Everybody leaves on Sunday. I got in late Thursday. And I didn't know ahead of time, and this could be my own, maybe I wasn't paying attention enough, but I didn't realize our satellite house was actually 25, 30 minutes away from like the event house. And so I didn't get a car, and there was 4 satellite houses total. So sorry, I'm kind of talking all over here, but there's 4 satellite houses, and then there's the main house, Pirates Cove. Pirates Cove could only sleep like 16 people or something like that. So we had 4 satellite houses for like the rest of us gym owners. And they were all within like 4 or 5 minutes of each other in Henderson. I didn't know Thursday why we were staying so far away. And I was upset because I didn't have a vehicle and I didn't want to like drive 30 minutes to go there. And then when everybody decided it was time to leave, drive 30 minutes back. So I decided Thursday night when I got there, I'm just not going to go to the Thursday night event. It's already 6 o'clock here, which means it's 8 o'clock back home. I usually go to bed at 8:30. I'm pretty beat anyways from traveling. I'm just going to sleep and not worry about night one and just be well rested for the next day. So I guess the reason why the houses were so far away, so everybody's aware, because I wasn't aware, was Boulder City passed some kind of ordinance that there's no short-term rentals allowed anymore in the city. So the closest short-term rentals nearby was like Henderson, which I said was like 25, 30 minutes away. So again, if I would have known that ahead of time, I wouldn't have been maybe so salty Thursday when I got there, but it is what it is. So stayed at this remote house, and one of the things I decided to do this entire trip was keep my same sleep routine, which you probably, some people might think I'm, a prude for that or whatever. I kind of felt that way because a lot of this event, like when I go to these events, a lot of it is about networking and getting to talk to other gym owners and bounce ideas off each other. And for some reason, I just, again, I just kept my same sleep routine, 2-hour time difference. And so every morning I was waking up at 3:30, which is 5:30, obviously here. And I would get up and I would walk 4, 5, 6 miles. So like day one, I woke up Friday morning. I walked like 3 or 4 miles, just kind of around this. We were staying right by like the school. So I was just kind of walking laps around that. And then I came inside for like 20, 30 minutes. And then I went back out and actually just ran a quick mile. So when we do these events, I don't get nearly the amount of steps I need to get in because you like kind of stay up late and then you kind of like get up right before you have to get breakfast and then you eat breakfast and you go right into like these speakers events. And then after the event is over for the day, you're networking all day. So you're really not getting activity in. So even though I missed out on the networking, I did feel good about like my health wise. So I got my steps in. I got some good food from them. I was eating breakfast and lunch there. I wasn't really staying for dinner until last night for ribeyes. But anyway, so I'm just blabbing. The first thing I want to tell you guys was I kept my same sleep routine, which nobody who does that when you go on a vacation. Usually you kind of adjust to the new sleep schedule. You stay up a little bit later, whatever, you're going out later for restaurants and food or whatever. So every morning up at 3:30 and then getting my steps in and then, breakfast at 7. So anyways, a little bit different of an experience for me compared to what I normally do. So, speakers, let's talk about some takeaways. Friday, our main speaker was Stephen Kotler. I didn't know much about him going into it. I did buy a book or two by him so I could read them before I went to the event, and I just never got around to it. Or maybe I just ironically had some books by him that I heard were really good. So the book that we got that day from him as a speaker was called The Art of Impossible. And Stephen Kotler specializes in neuroscience. And I'm not going to go like too crazy deep. He's got several books, so if you want to read about them, go for it. His main thing is what's called the flow state. So those of you that don't know what the flow state is, the easiest way to relate to this would be like if you played sports. So there's a macro flow state and there's a micro flow state. A macro flow state would be kind of like when time is standing still, or like when, let's say you're playing football, maybe volleyball, basketball, whatever it is, and you're so locked in, you can't even hear the audience. Like you're just playing your game, like, and the time goes by so fast, right? Like you didn't even, it's standing still in the moment, but it's also like going by, if that makes sense. So that's what would be called like a macro flow state. That takes a lot of mental energy, and you don't even realize it's happening until afterwards, where you're just like, wow, I was just, in a flow. I was, So the flow state is really when our mind gets in this certain kind of state of mind, and we're able to accomplish greater things, and we're, what I'll call more locked in, we're more dialed, right? These terms that we use nowadays. So he studies this flow state, and his book, The Art of Impossible, is really relating the flow state to the things that we seemed were impossible. So I forget what years it was, but the 4-minute mile was always an impossible thing to do. And then one day a guy breaks it at 3:59, and then like it only stood for a couple weeks, and then like 4 more people broke the 4-minute mile marker. So it's these amazing feats that humans are able to do once we realize our full potential, and it's this flow state that we get into. It just really gives us all of this energy and this ableness to accomplish great things, really. So there's micro and macro. Micro could be, I'm not very, I had a hard time necessarily really grasping it, but micro could be like, when you're reading a book and you're really into it and you're getting like these new ideas and your brain's just working. So anyways, my biggest takeaway from this is when we're working on important tasks, we have our phone on all day long. We have notifications coming. We've got our email open on our computer. We're checking that. For those of you that really need to get work done in the office, especially, I don't know how to relate this to like a more physical job, because obviously you're just go, go, go. And I think those people can get into flow state too, where all of a sudden 2 hours had gone by and you didn't even realize what was happening. I know Austin, one of our guys, that he's actually working with us a little bit part-time again, but he was doing some welding stuff, and he would say, I wouldn't even realize it, and then all of a sudden it was lunchtime, you know what I mean? Or it was time to go. So you get in these grooves, no matter what field you're in, and all of a sudden it's just like hours pass by, and you're like, wow, I didn't even realize time went by that fast, because you were really enjoying what you're doing. You were so mentally focused and things were happening. So for me, when it comes to the office, I sometimes have a couple different staff in the office with me, and it happens to me, and I also do the same thing to them, where it's so easy just to have an idea and start talking. But when you're in that flow state, it takes a while to get back into that flow state, and you can't just like snap your fingers and do it. Like it really takes some good focus, and it just has got to start flowing. So I think it's something you don't really want to think about. You just have to like start grooving, and it'll kind of line up. So the biggest takeaway for me was, how do I give myself a 90-minute, that's what he used, 90-minute. I'm thinking 1 hour to maybe 2 hours of uninterrupted time. How can I get in the office? How can I turn my phone off and just let my team know I'm not able to be reached from 8 to 9 a.m. and like get work done? Because without the notifications, without the, maybe waiting for a phone call to come in, waiting for an email, waiting for a text, a different notification coming from my phone, different ways of communication. If I don't have that, the study shows that you can get like 500% more work done in that amount of time, and you're just that much more productive. So for me, making sure, one, I'm not interrupting my team when they're in a flow state and understand that they're working on something important. But two, make sure that I have an allotted time, day to day, that I can really focus. Because I even did this, I think, Tuesday when I got back. I worked out, and then I came to Watoma right away to work in the office, and I got here earlier than everybody else, so it was like 7:30 in the morning, and I actually just like the first 2 or 3 hours of the day, I got so much work done. I was fasted, I was focused, and like minimal interruptions. I didn't turn my phone off, but Anyway, so the flow state, important. Read about it, learn about it. I don't need to dive too deep. I'm not a neuroscientist, but he has some really cool studies and understandings of this flow state and how we can take advantage of it. So the next speaker, Russell Brunson. I'm a huge Russell Brunson fan. For those of you who know who Russell Brunson is, he's an awesome guy. For those of you who don't, he created ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels is a software-based, it's a platform that you just build out like landing pages and one-click upsells and these marketing things, right? So if I launch an ad on Instagram and it says, click the link below to learn more, and you click the link to learn more, and then it takes you to another page, that's your landing page. And then when it's a couple-minute video there, that's what's called your video sales letter. Then there's a call to action, like sign up today, get your free this, get your free that, which I'm sure we've all seen this before. You click that, you enter your information, and then it takes you to a thank you page and maybe another upsell or whatever, right? So ClickFunnels is this software. It's more capable than just that, but that's like the premise, where it's what's called a funnel. So again, your funnel is from your ad to your landing page to your thank you page or your purchase page or whatever, right? He created this awesome software. Now, I'll give you a couple takeaways from the Russell Brunson conversation, again, without going too crazy in depth. The one thing that I took away was that your business needs a high ticket offer. And I know you guys listening some of you are gym members, some of you are business owners, some of you work within the business, but every business needs a high ticket offer for a couple of reasons. Like having a high ticket offer just makes your normal offer look better. Like we all know when you go to the movie theater and there's the small, medium, large popcorn, they're priced accordingly to get you to buy a certain one, right? Like the small might be this, but then the medium's this, but then the medium's so close to the large, you might as well just buy the large, right? So we all have been there. We all know that. You go and buy a water and there's slightly different sizes, but it's like, oh, but you can get 2 for this or that. Like that's all strategic. So having some kind of high ticket offer is important to make your main offer look better. But your high ticket offer, people still want the best option. So if you can really craft a really good high ticket offer, something that packs a lot of value and you can deliver on it, we should have a high ticket offer. So it's something we're working through, thinking about how can we take it to the next level. It also like strengthens the mind and broadens the mind. So we're so set on like packing so much, we're so focused on packing so much good into our current offers, so much, we're so busy focused on giving, we're focused on giving so much value in these offers now. But when you start thinking big picture, you start thinking high ticket offer, you start getting all these new ideas. How can we work with this company to provide this? And I don't want to give too many details away because I don't want to say things that I'm not going to do. But I've already talked to a couple people on the team, and it's just like you start thinking about, oh, wow, we could bring this into it, and this into it, and this into it. We can make this awesome offer, really help change people's lives, but also probably sell our other offer just as, better as well. So having a high ticket offer, he said, is like one of the number one things we should focus on when we get back. Another one that he talked about, the fitness industry, and I'm just talking to you guys here, is stuck on, and maybe you're in other industries too where this is like this, but we're so focused on like one-on-one sales, sitting down, having a conversation, getting you new sign the dotted line right now. And from his point of view, he's like, that's such an uncomfortable thing to do. He's like, I'm an introvert. I like to wait to think about my answer, and I like to wait to respond and talk to you or whatever. He said, so I don't like selling one-on-one. He says, I like to sell what's called one-to-many. So he does a lot of webinars. He does a lot of he used to do a lot of like big conferences where he would sell to a stadium full of people, right? He's got a world record for selling 3.2 million in 90 minutes to a stadium of like 9,000 people. If you follow Grant Cardone, Russell Brunson was on Grant Cardone's 10X conference like 3-4 years ago or something like this, or 10X, the second one or something. I don't know. He was on one of Grant Cardone's 10X. There was like 9,500 people in this arena, and he sold like 1,027 people his offer for $2,000 and did like 3.2 million after a 90-minute speech or something. So he's very versed in that field, but he now has shifted to online webinars. When COVID happened and trying to get in front of people, he went the online webinar route. So now he has a good conversation with everybody and then just has the offer there. And so now instead of instead of having a one-on-one consultation for an hour, he now does a webinar maybe in front of 20, 30 people for an hour and a half. And again, maximizing time and kind of weeding out the people who are seriously interested and are not. So just an interesting thought, for the fitness industry. It's like, how can we do more of that? How can we do more of like a webinar style where people who are maybe nervous to come to the gym hop on the webinar, they learn more about who we are before they even have to step foot in the gym, and then they can decide whether they want to come in or not. So just, again, thinking differently than when I originally went out there, right? I've got this new mindset on, can we incorporate that here? How do we do that? How do we still make it feel like a small town business? And so anyways, those are kind of two of the big takeaways from Russell Brunson. I will move on from him, but definitely it was amazing. Just having him there for the day. I got to speak to him. Oh, actually, funny story. So the first day I get to Pirates Cove, which is Friday morning, Stephen Kotler is the speaker. I haven't been to Pirates Cove yet because obviously I didn't come the night before. And it's just like this crazy Pirates and like all these different buildings and rooms. And there's a basketball court, and then there's a weight room, and then there's like, just it was really hard to find anything because it was like so well hidden. You had to open a door and just see what was behind the door, basically. And so my brother and I are walking around and we're touring the place, and we had just eaten breakfast, and now we're just kind of like, oh, well, we got an hour until the speaker. Let's just check this place out. And we go up to this like building, and the garage was like these two really old cars, like super cool. There's one was like a Thunderbird, and I can't remember what the other one was. So then we go up to the door, and we start opening the door, and the door is locked, and we're like, huh, okay. And we start walking away. The owner, the host, the main guy that we're part of this group, he comes running up. He's like, hey, get out of there. Like, that's Russell's house. And Russell opens the door. And I'm like, oh, Russell, I'm so sorry. Like, so this is my interaction. This is me meeting Russell Brunson, right, for the first time. I'm trying to break into his house that he's staying at. I had no idea that he was staying at Pirates Cove with us. Nobody told me that. Nobody said, hey, by the way, that house up there is Russell Brunson's. So, like, don't go and peek around there. It's like, we're like a kid in the candy shop. We're just wanting to see this place and really get the whole experience, right? So we want to understand everything. And literally every room had so much detail and like pictures and like just these random artifacts, and just so it was like you wanted to take it all in and just keep seeing stuff. And of course, the first building I wanted to tour was apparently Russell Brunson's home for the week with us or whatever. So he comes to the door. I'm like, oh, Russell, I'm so sorry. Like I was just checking the place out. I just got here and I just didn't know what was what. And it's like, oh, it's no big deal. And the owner was not upset with me, but he was like, oh man, like not a good look, like whatever. I ended up talking to Russell actually later about it. Apologized to him again when we were getting some food because he was eating with us. He was hanging out with us for the weekend. So even on Friday, he was there for the speaker, listening to the other speaker. Super cool, just like a down-to-earth dude, family man. And he had his family there. They were all swimming. Apparently Pirates Cove is like a separate... Pirates Cove to him is a very important place because he was there when he was younger, and I'm not going to get into that story, but anyways, I had a couple opportunities. I got to talk to him, shake his hand, take a picture with him, actually have a conversation with him, and it was super cool, super inspiring, motivating, all of that. So, moving on. Saturday night, everybody went to the Strip. Again, G and I went back home. We hung out on our own. Me and G, actually, there was a movie theater, like a private home movie theater in the house we were staying in. So Friday night and Saturday night, we watched like a chick flick together. We were just hanging out, watching some random movie. And then Saturday night, we started watching a movie as well. And then I hit the hay. But so now Sunday, we fly out to Denver. And we planned this trip all together so that way we could hit the Bronco game on the way home. And we flew to Denver Sunday morning. And then we checked in. They didn't have our rooms ready, but then we walked right away to the Bronco game because it was like almost a 2-mile walk. It was like 1.8 miles, so it was like a 40-minute walk. And we got some food first. We checked into our hotel, got some food, then we walked to the Bronco game. For those of you who watch NFL and have heard anything about the game against the Giants, when you hear this episode, we're releasing this episode a little bit later, but when you hear, like, if you heard anything about the NFL, the Bronco game was the one to be talked about. We're big Broncos fans. We sat way up in the upper deck. We were in like section 500 and some. It was a great view of the game. It was super intense even up there. Everybody was going wild. And we were down 19-0, 18-0, something like that in the fourth quarter. We ended up winning 33-32. I mean, it was just like an insane end of the game. I'm very happy that G told me to stay for the game. There was like 8 minutes left or 6 minutes left. The Giants had just scored again. I'm like, there's no way we can come back now. And he's like, let's just see if we score. And then all of a sudden, all this stuff just started happening. And it came down to the end. We kicked a field goal. We won the game. So the Broncos broke a bunch of records, like first team ever to score 33 points in a quarter when losing by so many points, all this stuff, right? And anyways, super awesome. It was a great time. G and I had an amazing time. And then we went back and weirdly enough, we stumbled into a 49ers bar. We were looking for dinner. We actually went to Elway's Steakhouse, and they were packed, so we had to go to another place. We ended up at this place called Tony's Tenderonis. Ironically enough, it was a San Francisco 49ers bar, and ironically enough, the 49ers were playing at that time. So like we're just hanging out with all these 49ers fans, downtown Denver, eating some food. We met a guy. We actually sat at a table of 4. This one guy was already sitting there, but they said we could sit there. It was the only table left. So we met this cool dude. He just came actually from San Fran to Denver with his long-term girlfriend. They were doing a long-term relationship, blah, 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 right? So it was just all these cool things happened. We got some good food there, went back to bed. I've got another story for you. So this is eventful. We are now in Denver in our hotel room, getting ready for bed. It's like 8 o'clock, my bedtime. And we're sitting there and we just got a 1 king bed. And I'm like, dude, I think our bed is like kind of wet or something, like this is weird. And I'll spare all the details, but somebody must have peed the bed or something similar. And so we had to, and then so what I do is I'm like, all right, like this is gross, So I call the front desk. I pick up the phone. The phone has no dial tone, doesn't work. I can't even call the front desk. So I'm like, great. Now I'm already like basically ready for bed, but now I got to get dressed and go back down to the front. So we go back down to the front. I was first in line, but there was this girl that was just about to come and check in. I let her go first because I didn't really want to make a big scene about the situation. I know that like the housekeepers, even when they change the sheets and stuff, I'm assuming they're not just patting the bed down, verifying if anybody peed the bed the night before. And then, it's not this guy's fault that I'm talking to. So they basically gave us a new room 3 floors up. They comped us some points. Things happen like that. But yeah, another event to add to this one. So then we flew back Monday. I ended up working Monday evening when we got back. And anyways, it was a good trip. So that is my story on our most recent trip. I have a couple notes here to talk to you about. Actually, I've only got like one thing I want to leave this episode off with. So I'm reading this book. I started this book a while ago. I just picked it up last night to read it a little bit more. It's called The Right Kind of Wrong. And I believe the author's name is Amy Gunderson. And so the premise of this book, the main reason of this book is like how to fail the right way. If you make a mistake, what do you take away from it? So a couple examples. We make a mistake and we decide, okay, let's just try something different. What we should do is analyze the situation, realize what went wrong in that, what we just did, and then and figure that out. So like basically analyzing the decisions that we make. If we fail, why did we fail? And then let's fail better next time, or let's improve that thing we failed on. And so kind of like Thomas Edison, he was the man that's made many inventions, but he's failed 1,000 times to make one thing or something like that, right? So how do you take away from it? How do you learn from it? And how do you become a better person in the end? And so the one thing I wrote down was there are only wins or lessons. There's never losing. If you lose, you learned a valuable lesson and you should get back up and take what you need from that. And that's a win in itself, right? Hey, I lost, but I actually won because I got some good knowledge from it and now I can keep going. So the right kind of wrong, just make sure when things are going wrong, when things aren't going the way you want them to, when you fail, when you make a mistake, understand why you made the mistake, understand what you did wrong, figure out how to not make that mistake in the future. Again, put that in the memory bank and let's move on, right? So it's an interesting book. I actually just read 6 or 7 pages last night, so I just thought it was something to think about. A lot of us will just, again, make a mistake and we'll just go do something completely different, or we'll make a mistake and we won't even, again, analyze what the mistake was, why the mistake happened, or we'll blame somebody else. We'll say, well, that wasn't my fault. It was clearly, G's fault or whatever. We need to understand what did I do that kind of screwed the team up as well. So just understanding that. Now, the last thing I'll add in here, and the reason why I like to read a lot, why I like to learn from mentors, from other people, is we only have so much time in life. We're all passing through time in our own little worlds, and that's fine. My goal is to learn everybody else's mistakes. Not everybody, obviously I can't do that, but learn as many mistakes from everybody else that I can so I can fast track my life, so I can make less mistakes, so I can get further ahead than everybody else. Not that it's a competition, but I want to take in as much as I can from everybody else in this world, everybody who's lived before me. I want to take in what I can from them and their life and their experiences. And I want to put that in my memory bank. So as I'm going through life and making, we've had all of these people before us that have written books and they've They've passed down things for us to understand and life lessons. And so many of us are too numb to even realize like that information's right there, and that information can only help us get better in our life and succeed faster. So I focus on knowledge and understanding and life lessons so I can fast track what I'm doing in my day-to-day life. I don't want to wait till I'm 50 to have lived all of those things that everybody else has already told me that like this is what you can do and how you can be better at it. So I encourage you, if you're not reading yet, you don't have to read like I do, but realize like there's a important thing here to the reading. Not only is it making you more literate and smart and, less screen time at night and all of these other things helping you sleep better, but it's benefiting like your life. And again, that fast track, that better understanding and that entire view from, the entire view of the world and how it all works. So I encourage you to pick up a book, do a little bit of reading, do a chapter a day, do 10 minutes a day, make it a goal, make it a habit. Let's get in the routine. It's only going to better you. It's only going to, again, slingshot you ahead. So that's all I've got for you today. I just kind of rambled about our trip, some decisions you should be making, and understanding what happens if you make the wrong decision or you fail, what kind of the right kind of wrong. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed Holden's episode. If you see Holden around, give him a pat on the back, tell him he's doing amazing things. If you have a friend like Holden, reach out to him, get him to listen to the podcast, get him to at least listen to Holden's episodes. Want to encourage people. We want to see change. We want people to be the best versions of themselves. That's what this podcast is about, being 1% better, the best version of you. That's what we strive for, just being a little bit better, just significant, just the compound effect, just one little change at a time. It'll pay off in the end. So thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing week. I hope you have an amazing weekend. If you want to add me on Snapchat, Colton.Burt, COLTON.BURT, Instagram, ColtonBurt19. Email us, Garrett@fitnessgrizzly.com. 2 R's, 2 T's. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next one.